I stood on that stage, diploma in hand, searching the crowd for their faces. And then I heard it. Finally, something useful from that one. My mother's voice cut through the applause like a knife. She wasn't even trying to whisper. My father nodded, arms crossed, while my sister Emily beamed beside them, soaking in their pride like it was meant for her. I was 24 years old, graduating summa cum laude in biomedical engineering. Top of my class. Full scholarship. 3 job offers waiting. But when they called my name, my parents sat frozen. No clapping. No standing. Nothing. When Emily's name was called 15 minutes later, bachelor's in communications, barely passing, they erupted. My father whistled. My mother cried. They held up a banner with her face on it. "That's our girl. That's our real daughter," my mother screamed, loud enough for everyone around us to hear. I felt every eye on me. The girl next to me squeezed my hand. A professor looked away, embarrassed for me. I wanted the floor to swallow me whole. After the ceremony, I found them at the reception. Emily was surrounded by relatives, showing off her basic degree like it was a Nobel Prize. I approached slowly, still holding my honors medal. "Mom, Dad, did you see—" "We saw," my father interrupted coldly. "Emily graduated. That's what matters today." My throat burned. My achievement meant nothing to them. It never had. But what I didn't know was that someone else had been watching everything. Someone who would change everything in ways I couldn't imagine. And that person was standing right behind me. Excuse me, but I couldn't help noticing the most accomplished graduate in this room is being completely ignored. The voice was firm, authoritative. I turned around to find an older woman in an expensive navy suit, silver hair pulled back elegantly. She looked at my parents with the kind of judgment that made people squirm. "And you are?" my mother asked, her tone dripping with annoyance. "Dr. Catherine Monroe, Dean of Graduate Studies at Johns Hopkins." She extended her hand to me, not to them. "I've been following your research on neural regeneration, Miss—" Sarah Mitchell," I managed, shaking her hand while my parents' faces shifted. "Your thesis was extraordinary. We'd like to offer you a position in our doctoral program. Full funding plus a research stipend of $75,000 a year." The color drained from my mother's face. Emily stopped mid-sentence across the room. Even my father uncrossed his arms. That's wonderful," my mother stammered, suddenly trying to step closer to me. "We're so proud of our Sarah, aren't we, honey?" "Really?" Dr. Monroe's eyebrow arched. "Because I just watched you celebrate everyone except her. I saw you sit through her honors recognition like you were at a funeral." "You don't understand our family dynamics," my father said defensively. "I understand enough." Dr. Monroe turned back to me. "Sarah, you don't owe anyone your success, especially not people who can't recognize it." My parents looked like they'd been slapped. The relatives who'd been fawning over Emily were now staring at us, whispers spreading like wildfire. "This is inappropriate," my mother hissed. "This is a family matter." "Then act like family," Dr. Monroe said coolly. Emily rushed over, tears already forming. "Mom, Dad, who is this woman? Why is she talking to you like this?" But Dr. Monroe wasn't done. She pulled out her phone, typed something quickly, and showed me the screen. What I saw there made my heart stop. Because it wasn't just a job offer. It was an email chain between Dr. Monroe and my parents. From 6 months ago. "We reached out to your parents when you applied for our summer research program," Dr. Monroe said quietly, her eyes on me. "We wanted to inform them of your exceptional candidacy. Your mother's response was enlightening." My hands trembled as I read the words on the screen. Sarah has always been difficult. We don't expect much from her. Our younger daughter Emily is the one with real potential. Perhaps you should consider her instead. The world tilted. My mother had actively tried to sabotage me, to redirect my opportunity to Emily, who had never shown interest in science a day in her life. You wrote this?" I looked at my mother, vision blurring with tears. "Sarah, that's out of context," she started. "There is no context that makes this okay," Dr. Monroe interrupted. "And there's more." She scrolled down. Another email. This one from my father to the scholarship committee at our university, 2 years prior. My daughter Sarah doesn't need this scholarship. She's not serious about her education. Please award it to a more deserving student. I had won that scholarship anyway, but only because the committee had questioned his email and contacted my professors directly. They'd told me someone tried to interfere, but I never knew who. It was my own father. Why? The word came out broken. Why would you do this to me? Emily grabbed my mother's arm, looking genuinely confused. Mom, what is she talking about? You told me Sarah always got special treatment, that everything came easy for her. Shut up, Emily, my father snapped, his face red with anger and embarrassment. The relatives had formed a circle around us now. Aunt Linda, Uncle Joe, cousins I barely knew, all watching my family implode in real time. You've been lying to everyone, I said, my voice stronger now. About me. About everything. My mother's eyes went cold. Hard. The mask finally dropped completely. You want the truth, Sarah? The truth is, you were never supposed to be born. The reception hall went dead silent. Someone gasped. I felt Dr. Monroe's hand on my shoulder, steadying me. Margaret, don't, my father warned, but my mother was beyond stopping. We had Emily. Perfect, beautiful Emily. She was enough. But then you came along, unplanned, unwanted, and from the moment you were born, you took everything from her. Attention, resources, opportunities. I was a child, I whispered, but she kept going. You were always too smart, too driven, too much. Do you know how exhausting it is to have a daughter who makes everyone else look bad? Emily struggled in school because teachers constantly compared her to you. Boys didn't notice her because you were always winning some award, getting some recognition. Emily's face crumbled. Mom, you said I was your favorite because I deserved it. You are my favorite, my mother shot back. Because you're normal. You don't make me feel inadequate every time you open your mouth. Uncle Joe stepped forward. Margaret, this is insane. Sarah is your daughter. She's a burden who happened to share my DNA, my mother said, and I watched her say it without a single ounce of regret in her eyes. My father finally found his voice. What your mother means is, don't. I held up my hand, surprised by how calm I suddenly felt. Don't explain it away. Don't soften it. She said what she said. Dr. Monroe stepped beside me. Sarah, my car is outside. You don't have to stay here? No. I looked at my mother, then at Emily, who was crying silently now. I need to know something first. Dad, did you agree with her? About all of it? He couldn't meet my eyes. That was answer enough. The emails, the sabotage, the public humiliation today. You both participated. My voice didn't shake anymore. You tried to destroy my future because you couldn't handle my success. You're being dramatic, my mother snapped. Aunt Linda's voice rang out, sharp and clear. No, Margaret. For once in her life, Sarah is being honest, and you can't stand it. Then Aunt Linda said something that made everyone freeze. Should we tell her the real reason you hate her, Margaret? Or should I? My mother's face went white. Linda, don't you dare. She deserves to know. Aunt Linda walked toward me, her expression a mixture of anger and pity. Sarah, your mother doesn't hate you because you're accomplished. She hates you because you remind her of everything she could have been. That's enough, my father barked, but Aunt Linda ignored him. Your mother had a full scholarship to MIT. Did you know that? Engineering just like you. She was brilliant, top of her class, had her whole future mapped out. I stared at my mother, who wouldn't look at me. What happened? She got pregnant with Emily, Aunt Linda continued. Your father convinced her to give up the scholarship, marry him, stay home. She was 19. She gave up everything. My mother's hands were shaking. I made a choice. I chose my family. You made a sacrifice you've regretted every single day, Aunt Linda said softly. And when Sarah came along and started achieving everything you'd dreamed of, you couldn't bear it. You saw your own lost potential in her face. So you tried to destroy me because I reminded you of yourself. I felt something break inside my chest. Not sadness anymore. Something colder. You could have helped me. You could have been proud. You could have lived through my success instead of resenting it. It's not that simple, my mother whispered. Yes, it is, Dr. Monroe's voice cut through. You're a grown woman who chose to sabotage her own daughter rather than deal with your own failures. There's no complexity here, just cruelty. Emily was sobbing now, mascara running down her face. Mom, you told me Sarah was the favorite. You said Dad loved her more. You made me compete with her my whole life. Because I needed you to win something, my mother screamed, and the raw pain in her voice startled everyone. I needed one of you to need me, to not make me feel useless. The room was suffocating. Relatives looked away, embarrassed. My father stood frozen, unable or unwilling to comfort anyone. Then my phone buzzed. A text message. From a number I didn't recognize. Check your bank account now. I opened my banking app and what I saw made no sense. $250,000 had just been deposited into my account. What is this? I looked up at Dr. Monroe, confused and terrified. She smiled slightly. That's not from me, but I think I know who it's from. An older man in a perfectly tailored suit emerged from the crowd. Distinguished, probably in his 70s, with kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. He walked straight to me. Hello, Sarah. My name is Robert Mitchell. I'm your grandfather. That's impossible, my father said, his voice strangled. My father is dead. You're dead. Clearly not, Daniel. The old man didn't even glance at my father. He kept his eyes on me. I've been following your academic career for years, Sarah. Every award, every publication, every achievement. I'm so incredibly proud of you. My mind was racing. But Dad said his parents died before I was born. Your father told everyone I was dead because I refused to enable his failures. Robert's voice was calm but firm. 25 years ago, Daniel dropped out of college, got a 19-year-old girl pregnant, and demanded I pay for his mistakes. When I said no, that he needed to take responsibility for his own life, he cut me off completely. Told everyone I was dead. You abandoned your own son, my father shouted. I refused to bankroll your laziness, Robert corrected. There's a difference. I offered to pay for you to finish school. I offered to help with childcare so Margaret could keep her scholarship. You refused everything that required actual effort from you. My mother made a sound like a wounded animal. Emily grabbed onto her, both of them crying. I hired a private investigator 15 years ago to keep tabs on my grandchildren, Robert continued, speaking only to me. I watched Daniel poison Margaret against you. I saw how they treated you like you were the problem when you were just a child trying to survive. Why didn't you contact me sooner? I asked, tears streaming down my face. Because I needed you to build your own strength first. To achieve on your own merit, so no one could ever say you succeeded because of money or connections. He handed me an envelope. This is my information, my home address, phone number, email, and the key to a trust fund that's been waiting for you since you were born. $3 million for your education, research, whatever you need. My knees almost gave out. Dr. Monroe steadied me again. You can't just buy her loyalty, my mother screamed. Robert finally looked at her. I'm not buying anything, Margaret. I'm giving my granddaughter what she's always deserved, support. Then he turned to the crowd and said something that changed everything. I'm also here to formally contest Daniel and Margaret's access to Sarah's future inheritance from my estate. My father lunged forward. You can't do that? I'm your son, and you've spent 25 years pretending I don't exist. You made your choice, Daniel. Robert pulled out a document from his jacket. This is a legal declaration. Sarah is now my sole heir. Everything, the properties, the investments, the company shares, all of it goes to her. How much are we talking about? Uncle Joe asked quietly. $47 million, give or take. The number hung in the air like a bomb. Emily actually stumbled backward. My mother's face went through a dozen emotions in seconds. Shock, rage, grief, and finally, calculation. Sarah, sweetie. My mother's voice suddenly turned sickeningly sweet. She stepped toward me with outstretched arms. Baby, I know we've had our differences, but you're still my daughter. We can work through this. Family is everything, right? Don't, I stepped back, disgusted. Don't you dare try that now. I'm your mother, she shrieked, the mask slipping again. You owe me. I gave birth to you. I fed you, clothed you, kept a roof over your head. You did the legal minimum required not to be arrested, Dr. Monroe said dryly. That doesn't earn you $47 million. My father's approach was different, calculated. Sarah, I know I haven't been perfect, but I'm still your dad. We can start over. I can be better. Can you? I looked at him, really looked at him. Can you actually name one thing about me? One interest, one goal, one dream I have that doesn't involve Emily? He opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. Nothing came out. You can't, can you? My voice echoed through the hall. 24 years, and you don't know a single real thing about me because you never cared enough to ask. Emily wiped her eyes, suddenly stepping forward. Sarah, I'm sorry. I really am. I didn't know Mom was sabotaging you. I thought I was actually the golden child because I deserved it. For the first time all day, I felt a crack in my anger. Emily looked genuinely devastated, lost. Did you know about the emails? I asked her directly. No, I swear I didn't. Her voice broke. But I knew they favored me, and I liked it. I let it happen. I'm so sorry. Robert watched this exchange carefully, then leaned toward me. The money is yours regardless, Sarah. But how you handle this family moment, that's entirely your decision. I looked around. At my sobbing mother, my calculating father, my broken sister, the judging relatives, Dr. Monroe's supportive presence, and Robert, the grandfather I never knew existed. Then I made my choice. Emily, stand next to me. She looked confused but obeyed, walking over on shaky legs. I took her hand and she squeezed it like a lifeline. Mom, Dad, I want you to hear this clearly. My voice was steady now, powerful. I forgive Emily. She was manipulated her entire life, turned into a weapon against me. She's a victim of your toxicity, too. Sarah? My mother started. I'm not finished. I cut her off. Emily, you're going to therapy. Real therapy, and if you want a relationship with me going forward, you'll work on yourself. Actually work. Do you understand? She nodded, tears flowing. Yes, I promise. I'll do whatever it takes. Good. I turned back to my parents. But you two? You had every opportunity to be better. You chose cruelty. You chose sabotage. You actively tried to ruin my life because of your own failures and insecurities. We made mistakes, my father began. Mistakes are accidental, Robert interrupted coldly. What you did was systematic abuse. My mother's face hardened again. So what? You're going to cut us off completely? Turn your back on your own parents? That makes you just as bad as us. No, Margaret, Dr. Monroe said quietly. That makes her healthy. I pulled out my phone and opened my email. I'm going to read something to everyone here. These are excerpts from my childhood diary, which I found last month while packing for today. My mother's eyes went wide with panic. Sarah, I got straight A's again. Mom said it was show-off behavior. She made me apologize to Emily for making her feel bad. I scrolled down. Dad forgot my birthday again. He remembered Emily's last week with a party. When I asked why I didn't get one, he said I should be grateful I get to live in their house. People were crying now. Aunt Linda covered her mouth. Uncle Joe looked at my father with pure disgust. I won the state science fair. Mom told the newspaper I cheated. They investigated me for 2 weeks. I was 12 years old. Stop it. My mother screamed. Stop humiliating me. You humiliated yourself, I said. I'm just finally telling the truth. I scrolled to the last entry. I'm 17 today. I've decided something. I'm going to succeed so completely, so undeniably, that one day they'll have to see me, really see me, and maybe then they'll love me. My voice cracked on the last words. Robert put his arm around me, and I let myself lean into this stranger who'd shown me more love in 10 minutes than my parents had in 24 years. That girl was so desperate for your love that she thought achievement could earn it, I said. but I know better now. Nothing I do will ever be enough for you. My father's face was red. So this is it? You take the money and run? The money has nothing to do with this. Then Robert dropped the final revelation. Daniel, Margaret, there's something else you should know. Robert's voice carried authority that silenced the room. I didn't just find Sarah by accident. She found me first. 3 months ago. Everyone turned to look at me. I nodded slowly. I hired my own investigator, I explained. After I found documents in Dad's office about a Robert Mitchell who supposedly died. But the death certificate was fake. Badly forged, actually. So I dug deeper. My father's face went pale. You went through my things? I did. And I found everything. The letters Robert sent you over the years, begging to meet his grandchildren. The checks you cashed and kept. Telling him we needed money when we didn't. The emails where he offered to pay for my entire education if you'd just let him meet me. You've been stealing from your own father for years, Robert said coldly. Nearly $400,000 in emergency funds for grandchildren I wasn't allowed to see. My mother looked at my father, horrified. Daniel, you told me your father left us nothing. Oh, this gets better, I continued. Dad's been running a side business. He takes Robert's money, claims it's from his consulting work, and uses it to fund Emily's lifestyle while telling everyone I'm the expensive one. Emily's head snapped toward our father. The car you bought me last year, the apartment deposit, that was from Grandpa Robert? It was my inheritance, my father roared. He owed it to me. He owed you nothing, Robert said firmly. And now the FBI is investigating you for fraud and forgery. I filed the report this morning. The room erupted. Relatives gasped. My mother grabbed my father's arm, screaming questions. Dr. Monroe looked impressed. You planned this whole thing, my father said to me, his voice venomous. This entire day. The graduation, the confrontation, everything. No, I corrected. You planned this by being terrible parents. I just documented it. The cameras I've been wearing for 3 months captured everything. Every insult, every act of sabotage, every moment of abuse. It's all recorded, time-stamped, and backed up in 3 separate locations. My mother lurched toward me. You're destroying this family! I'm protecting myself from you, I said simply. There's a difference. Aunt Linda started clapping. Then Uncle Joe joined. Soon, half the room was applauding while my parents stood there, exposed and humiliated in front of everyone who mattered to them. Sarah, we can fix this, my father tried one last time. Please don't do this. I'm your father. I looked at him, really looked at him, and felt nothing but pity. No, Robert is my family. Dr. Monroe is my family. Emily can earn her way back to being my family. But you two? I shook my head. You're just the people who made me stronger by trying to break me. Then I walked toward the door, Robert and Dr. Monroe flanking me. Emily hesitated only a moment before following. Behind us, my mother's scream echoed through the hall. But I didn't look back. 6 months later, I stood in a different room. A courtroom this time. My father sat at the defendant's table, his lawyer whispering urgently in his ear. My mother was in the gallery, looking 10 years older than she had at graduation. The fraud charges had been reduced to a plea deal, but the damage was done. The judge reviewed the final documents. Mr. Mitchell, you've agreed to repay the stolen funds and accept a suspended sentence contingent on completing court-ordered therapy. Do you understand these terms? Yes, Your Honor, my father mumbled. And do you have anything to say to your daughter before we conclude? He turned to look at me. Our eyes met. For a moment, I thought I saw actual remorse there. Then he looked away. No, Your Honor. That single word told me everything I needed to know. Even now, even after everything, he couldn't apologize. Couldn't admit he'd been wrong. The judge dismissed us. As I walked out, Emily was waiting in the hallway. She looked different, healthier somehow. 6 months of therapy had been good for her. How are you? She asked carefully. We'd been rebuilding slowly, weekly coffee meetings that sometimes ended in tears, but more often in honest conversations. I'm okay, I said and meant it. Mom asked me to give you this. Emily handed me an envelope, looking uncomfortable. Inside was a letter. My mother's handwriting, shaky and desperate. Sarah, I'm sorry. I know I destroyed everything. I know you'll never forgive me. But I need you to know that I do love you. I just didn't know how to show it without feeling like I was losing myself. Please, can we talk? I folded the letter and put it in my bag. Maybe someday I'd respond. Maybe not. Are you going to answer her? Emily asked. I don't know yet, I admitted. But that's my choice to make. On my terms. When I'm ready. Robert was waiting outside with Dr. Monroe. Over the past 6 months, they'd become my real family. Robert taught me about the business I'd inherit. Dr. Monroe mentored my research. They showed up for every small victory, every difficult moment. How did it go? Robert asked, though he could probably read it on my face. It's over. Really over. I took a deep breath of fresh air. I'm free, Dr. Monroe smiled. So, Dr. Mitchell, I'd officially started my PhD program last month. Ready to change the world with that brilliant mind of yours? I looked at the three of us, the family I'd chosen, the family who'd chosen me back, and felt something I'd never experienced with my parents, pure, unconditional belonging. Yeah, I said, linking arms with Emily on one side and Robert on the other. I really think I am. As we walked toward Robert's car, my phone buzzed. Another email from Johns Hopkins. My research paper had been accepted for publication in Nature. The culmination of years of work, finally recognized by the scientific community. I thought about that 17-year-old girl who wrote in her diary, desperate to be seen. If I could tell her anything now, I'd say this. You don't need their approval to be extraordinary. You already are, and you always were.